Welcome, dear listener, to this gentle journey into the science of sleep, the mystery of consciousness, and the soothing world of ASMR sensations that can guide you into the most peaceful, restorative rest you've experienced in quite some time. If you find value in this whispered exploration of your brain's natural rhythms, consider subscribing to join us for more journeys into relaxation and understanding. But for now, simply settle in, allowing your body to find its most comfortable position, perhaps adjusting your pillow just slightly, feeling the weight of your head sinking into that soft support, noticing how your shoulders can release just a little bit more with each gentle breath you take. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do, no urgency pulling at your awareness. This time is yours, a gift you're giving yourself, permission to simply rest while we explore together the fascinating landscape of your sleeping brain, the waves of electrical activity that pulse through your consciousness, and those delightful tingling sensations that many people experience when exposed to certain gentle sounds, soft whispers, and calming triggers that we'll discover together as we move through this experience. Your brain, right now in this very moment, is producing electrical signals, tiny pulses of energy that travel between neurons, creating patterns that scientists can measure, frequencies that correspond to your current state of awareness. These patterns are called brain waves, and they're as natural as your heartbeat, as automatic as your breathing, yet they hold the key to understanding how you transition from the busy alertness of your day into the deep, restorative sleep your body and mind need so desperately. At this moment, as you're listening to these words, reading or hearing them with conscious attention, your brain is likely producing what we call beta waves, electrical oscillations that pulse at a frequency between 13 and 30 cycles per second, or hertz as scientists measure them. Beta waves are the signature of your waking, thinking, active mind, the state you've been in throughout your day as you navigated tasks and conversations, made decisions and processed information, moved through the world with alert awareness. These beta waves are perfectly natural, wonderfully useful for daytime activities, but they're not conducive to sleep, not compatible with the deep rest you're seeking now. And so our journey begins here, with the gentle recognition that you're currently in beta, and together we'll guide your brain through a natural progression, a descent through different frequencies, moving from beta down into alpha, then theta, and eventually into the slow, deep delta waves of profound restorative sleep. But we're not making this journey alone, not relying solely on the natural tendency of your tired body to drift toward sleep. We're enlisting the help of something special, something that researchers have only recently begun to understand in scientific terms, though millions of people have experienced it throughout their lives. This phenomenon is called ASMR, which stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, and it refers to that tingling sensation that some people feel, often beginning at the scalp and cascading down the back of the neck and spine, triggered by certain gentle sounds, soft whispers, personal attention, or careful, deliberate movements. Not everyone experiences ASMR in the same way, and some people may not feel the physical tingles at all, but nearly everyone can benefit from the deeply relaxing effects of ASMR triggers, the way certain sounds and sensory experiences can quiet the busy mind, slow the racing thoughts, and create a sense of peaceful, safe, calm presence that's absolutely perfect for sleep. Research conducted in 2024 and 2025 has shown that ASMR content can reduce heart rate by an average of 3 to 5 beats per minute, can lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone that keeps you alert and anxious, and can increase the production of alpha and theta brain waves, those slower frequencies associated with relaxation and the early stages of sleep. So as we move through this exploration together, you'll notice descriptions of gentle sounds, soft textures, whispered knowledge, and you're invited to simply notice whatever sensations arise in your body, whether that's the classic tingling of ASMR or simply a general sense of relaxation, a softening of tension, a quieting of mental chatter. Let's begin by bringing awareness to your current state, noticing without judgment where you are right now in this moment. Your beta waves are still active, still pulsing at that higher frequency, and you might notice this in the quality of your thoughts, perhaps still somewhat busy, maybe reviewing moments from your day, planning ahead to tomorrow, or simply observing this experience with analytical attention. That's perfectly fine, exactly as it should be. But notice now, as you continue to listen to the soft quality of these words, the gentle rhythm of this whispered narration, how your breathing might already be beginning to slow, how your body might be starting to feel just a little bit heavier, more settled into whatever surface is supporting you. This is the very beginning of your transition from beta into alpha, that first step down the staircase of consciousness, the initial release of high alert awareness into something softer, more diffuse, more peaceful. Alpha waves oscillate at a frequency between 8 and 13 Hz, slower than beta, creating a state that researchers describe as relaxed wakefulness, that feeling you might recognize from moments when you're daydreaming, or sitting quietly with a cup of tea, or gazing out a window at falling rain, still aware but no longer actively engaged with demanding tasks, no longer in that state of focused concentration or problem-solving alertness. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is like the surface of a pond, and throughout your busy day, that surface has been choppy with activity, ripples and waves created by every thought, every task, every interaction and stimulus. Beta waves are those choppy waters, constantly moving, never still. But now, as evening settles and you give yourself permission to rest, the wind begins to die down, the disturbances begin to fade, and the surface of that pond starts to smooth, still moving but with gentler undulations, slower waves that catch the fading light. This is Alpha. This is the beginning of your descent into sleep, and you can feel it happening naturally, automatically, as your brain responds to the absence of demanding stimuli, to the presence of soothing sounds, to the permission you've given yourself to simply be here, resting, releasing, letting go. Some people describe the shift from beta to alpha as a feeling of their thoughts becoming less sharp, less defined, as if the edges are softening, as if there's more space between each thought, more room to breathe. Others notice it as a physical sensation, a subtle relaxation in the muscles around their eyes, a softening of their jaw, a release of tension they didn't even realize they were holding in their shoulders or their hands. However you experience it, know that it's happening, that your brain is already beginning to shift its electrical patterns, already starting to produce those slower alpha waves that will carry you towards sleep. And here, in this alpha state, this is where ASMR can work its particular magic, where those gentle triggers can deepen your relaxation and accelerate your journey toward theta and delta. So let's explore together some of the sensations and sounds that trigger ASMR responses, that create those pleasant tingles or that deep sense of calm. Imagine, if you will, the softest whisper, barely audible, like someone sharing a secret meant only for you. Words spoken so quietly that you have to be completely still to hear them, and in that stillness, in that focused attention on something so gentle, your nervous system begins to shift, your fight or flight response begins to stand down, your body interprets this soft, careful sound as a signal of safety, of intimacy, of care. Whispered speech is one of the most common ASMR triggers, and there's something about the quality of a whisper, the way it lacks the sharp consonants and loud vowels of normal speech, the way it requires the speaker to slow down and be deliberate, that communicates to your ancient brain that everything is okay, that you're safe, that you can rest. Throughout human evolution, whispers have been associated with closeness, with trusted relationships, with moments of vulnerability and care, a mother soothing a child, friends sharing confidences, lovers speaking in the dark. Your brain recognizes this pattern, responds to it with a cascade of calming neurochemicals, and your alpha waves deepen, becoming more pronounced, more dominant in the overall pattern of your brain's electrical activity. Now imagine another sound, the gentle tapping of fingertips on a smooth surface, a soft, rhythmic pattern, tap tap tap, slow and deliberate, each contact creating a subtle sound that's crisp but not harsh, present but not demanding. This tapping might remind you of rain on a window, or the sound of someone carefully examining an object, turning it over in their hands with focused attention. Rhythmic sounds like this can be incredibly soothing because they give your mind something simple to follow, a pattern that's predictable and safe, and in following this pattern, your thoughts have less room to wander into worry or planning or analysis. The tapping becomes a gentle anchor, holding your attention in the present moment, and with each tap, you might notice your body relaxing a little more, your breathing synchronizing with the rhythm, your awareness narrowing to just this sound, just this moment, just this peaceful presence. Research has shown that rhythmic auditory stimulation can actually entrain brain waves, meaning your brain's electrical patterns begin to synchronize with the rhythm of the sound, and if that rhythm is slow and gentle, your brain waves slow down to match it, shifting more deeply into alpha and beginning to touch the edges of theta. Consider also the sound of crinkling, perhaps paper being gently crumpled, or the rustling of tissue paper, or the soft crackling of cellophane being carefully manipulated. These sounds have a particular quality, a complexity of tiny variations, hundreds of small sounds happening in quick succession, creating a texture that's rich and engaging without being overwhelming. Many people find crinkling sounds deeply relaxing, and scientists believe this might be because these sounds are similar to natural sounds that our ancestors would have found soothing, like leaves rustling in a gentle breeze, or the sound of moving through tall grass, sounds that indicated a peaceful environment, an absence of danger. When you hear crinkling, your brain processes all those tiny variations, and in doing so, it becomes fully occupied with something that's completely non-threatening, completely safe, and this allows your stress response to deactivate, your muscles to release their tension, your alpha waves to flow more freely through your consciousness like a gentle current carrying you towards sleep. Brushing sounds offer yet another pathway into deep relaxation, the soft whisper of bristles moving across a surface, perhaps a makeup brush being swept across a microphone, or the sound of someone brushing their hair, long, slow strokes that create a sustained, gentle sound. There's something almost hypnotic about brushing sounds, the way they sustain and fade, creating a rhythm that's organic rather than mechanical, varied rather than perfectly repetitive. These sounds can evoke memories of being cared for, of someone brushing your hair when you were young, or the feeling of a soft brush against your skin, and these associations with care and gentleness further signal to your nervous system that you're safe, that you can let down your guard, that sleep is not only possible but welcome. As you imagine these brushing sounds, you might even feel a phantom sensation on your scalp, a gentle tingling or pleasant awareness, and this is your brain creating the experience of ASMR, responding to the suggestion of the trigger even in its absence, demonstrating the powerful connection between your thoughts, your sensory experiences, and your state of consciousness. Page-turning sounds, the soft rustle and whisper of paper being carefully lifted and folded over, carry their own particular charm, evoking quiet libraries and peaceful reading sessions, moments of focused but relaxed attention. There's a gentleness required to turn a page quietly, a deliberateness that communicates care and patience, and these qualities are deeply soothing to witness or imagine. The sound itself is complex, containing the initial lift of the page, the soft friction as it slides against neighboring pages, the gentle settling as it comes to rest in its new position, and your brain finds this complexity engaging in a way that's restful rather than stimulating, occupying your auditory processing centers with something pleasant and safe while allowing other parts of your mind to begin powering down, preparing for sleep. Similarly, the sound of writing, a pen moving across paper, creating soft scratching sounds with each letter, each word, offers a rhythmic, purposeful quality that many people find deeply relaxing. Writing sounds suggest focus and care, someone taking time to record thoughts or create something, and there's a meditative quality to this that can help your own mind settle into a more peaceful state. Now, as we've explored these various ASMR triggers, you might have noticed actual physical sensations arising in your body, or you might simply feel more relaxed, more settled, more ready for sleep. Both responses are perfect, exactly right for you in this moment. The physical tingles of ASMR, when they occur, often begin at the scalp, a gentle, pleasant sensation that some people describe as effervescent, like tiny bubbles, or like a soft touch, or like a gentle electrical current that's soothing rather than jarring. These tingles can cascade down the back of the head and neck, flowing down the spine, sometimes spreading to the shoulders or arms, creating waves of pleasant sensation that are deeply relaxing. Scientists studying ASMR have found that these sensations are associated with the release of endorphins and oxytocin, neurochemicals that promote bonding, reduce stress, and create feelings of well-being and safety. The tingles are your brain's way of rewarding you for finding a safe, peaceful environment, encouraging you to stay in this state, to rest and restore. Even if you don't experience the physical tingles, the neurochemical effects are still occurring, still helping your brain transition from beta to alpha, still preparing you for the deeper stages of sleep that await. Let's take a moment now, a gentle pause in our exploration, to simply notice what's present in your experience. Notice the quality of your breathing, how it might have slowed and deepened without any conscious effort on your part. Notice the feeling of your body, how it might feel heavier now, more settled, as if you're sinking just slightly into whatever surface supports you. Notice the quality of your thoughts, whether they've become slower, more spacious, less urgent and demanding. Notice any physical sensations, whether that's the classic ASMR tingles, or simply a general sense of relaxation, a softening of muscles, a release of tension. There's nothing you need to do with these observations, nowhere you need to go with them, no analysis required. Simply notice, simply be present with whatever is here, allowing your awareness to rest gently on your experience like morning light resting on still water. And in this noticing, in this gentle presence, your alpha waves continue to deepen, continue to slow, preparing the ground for the next stage of your journey, the transition from alpha into theta, from relaxed wakefulness into the drowsy threshold of sleep itself. Your brain is remarkably intelligent, far more sophisticated than any technology humans have created, and it knows exactly how to guide you into sleep. You don't have to try to sleep, don't have to force or control the process. In fact, trying to sleep often has the opposite effect, creating tension and frustration that keep you awake. Instead, your only job is to create the conditions that allow sleep to happen naturally, and that's exactly what we're doing here together, creating an environment of safety and calm, providing your brain with soothing stimuli, giving your body permission to rest, and then simply allowing the natural process to unfold. Your brain will take care of the rest, will guide you through the stages we're exploring, will orchestrate the complex dance of neurochemicals and electrical patterns that constitute the journey from waking to sleeping. All you need to do is rest here, listening to these words, following this gentle guidance, noticing the sensations and experiences that arise, and trusting that your brain knows the way, has made this journey thousands of times before, and will make it thousands of times again. As your alpha waves continue to flow through your consciousness, you might notice certain experiences that are characteristic of this state. Colors might seem more vivid when you close your eyes, patterns and shapes appearing against the darkness of your closed eyelids, gentle geometric forms or flowing abstract images that drift and shift without any effort or control on your part. This is your visual cortex, still active but no longer processing external stimuli, creating its own content, playing with the patterns and memories stored in your brain. These closed-eye visualizations are completely normal, a sign that you're relaxing deeply, that your brain is beginning to shift into more creative, less analytical modes of processing. Some people see colors, deep purples and blues, soft greens and golds, while others see shapes, spirals and waves, fractals and flowing forms. Whatever you see, or don't see, is perfect, exactly right for your unique brain and your current state of consciousness. You might also notice that sounds seem different in alpha, perhaps more distant, or more intimate, as if they're coming from inside your head rather than from external speakers or devices. This shift in auditory perception is another sign of deepening relaxation, your brain beginning to blur the boundaries between internal and external, between self and environment, a blurring that will become more pronounced as you move into theta and eventually into the complete dissolution of boundaries that characterizes deep delta sleep. Time itself might begin to feel different in alpha, less linear, less pressing. Minutes might seem to stretch or compress, and you might lose track of how long you've been listening, how long you've been resting here. This temporal distortion is another hallmark of alpha states, a sign that your brain is moving away from the time-bound, task-oriented consciousness of beta and into the more fluid, present-centered awareness of deeper relaxation. In beta, you're constantly aware of time, checking clocks, monitoring schedules, planning ahead and reviewing the past. But in alpha, the present moment expands, becomes more spacious, and past and future fade into the background, becoming less relevant, less demanding of your attention. This is one of the great gifts of alpha states, this release from the tyranny of time, this permission to simply be here now, without agenda, without schedule, without anywhere to go or anything to accomplish. And as you rest in this expanded present moment, your brain continues its work, continues to slow its electrical oscillations, continues to prepare you for the next stage of your journey into sleep. The transition from alpha to theta is gradual, not a sudden shift but a gentle fading, like twilight giving way to dusk, like the last light of day slowly dimming into the soft darkness of night. You might not notice the exact moment when alpha becomes theta, when your brain waves slow from 8 to 13 Hz down into the 4 to 8 Hz range that characterizes theta. But you will notice the effects, the changes in your experience that signal this deeper level of relaxation, this closer proximity to sleep itself. Theta is the realm of drowsiness, of that delicious state between waking and sleeping where you're still somewhat aware but no longer fully conscious, where thoughts become dreamlike and reality begins to soften and blur. This is the state you enter every single night as you fall asleep, though you might not remember it because memory formation becomes unreliable in theta, your brain too relaxed to bother encoding every moment, too focused on the process of transitioning into sleep to worry about creating records of the experience. But tonight, as we explore theta together, you might maintain just enough awareness to notice its qualities, to recognize its characteristics, even as you allow yourself to sink more deeply into its peaceful embrace. Theta waves are associated with creativity, with intuition, with access to the subconscious mind and the vast storehouse of memories and associations that lie beneath your everyday awareness. Many artists and inventors report that their best ideas come to them in theta states, in those drowsy moments just before sleep or just after waking, when the analytical, critical mind has relaxed its grip and deeper, more associative forms of thinking can emerge. In theta, your brain makes connections that would seem illogical in beta, links together ideas and images in novel ways, plays with possibilities without the constraints of rational analysis. This is why theta is such a valuable state, not just for sleep, but for creativity and problem solving, for accessing wisdom and insight that's not available to your waking, thinking mind. But tonight, we're not trying to solve problems or generate creative ideas. Tonight, we're simply allowing theta to do what it does best, which is to carry you gently towards sleep, to soften the boundaries of your consciousness, to prepare your brain and body for the deep restoration that awaits in the slower frequencies of delta and the paradoxical consciousness of REM sleep. As you enter theta, you might begin to experience what scientists call hypnagogic imagery, vivid mental images that appear spontaneously, without any conscious effort or intention on your part. These images are different from daydreams or visualizations, which you create deliberately. Hypnagogic images simply arise, appearing fully formed in your mind's eye, often strange or surreal, combining elements in ways that don't quite make sense but don't seem wrong either. You might see faces of people you don't recognize, or landscapes you've never visited, or objects that morph and transform, shifting from one thing to another in that fluid, dreamlike way that characterizes theta consciousness. These images are your brain beginning to dream, practicing the skills it will use more fully in REM sleep later in the night, creating narratives and scenarios from the raw material of your memories and experiences. Some people find hypnagogic imagery fascinating, enjoying the strange creativity of their drowsy mind, while others barely notice it, their awareness too diffused to focus on the images for more than a moment before they drift away. However you experience it, hypnagogic imagery is a clear sign that you're in theta, that you're approaching the threshold of sleep, that your conscious mind is beginning to release its hold on your awareness. You might also notice in theta that your body feels very heavy, almost as if you couldn't move even if you wanted to, though of course you could if you needed to. This heaviness is your muscles relaxing deeply, releasing all the subtle tension that keeps you upright and mobile during your waking hours. Your heart rate has slowed, your blood pressure has dropped, Your breathing has become deep and regular, and your body temperature has begun to decrease slightly, all physiological changes that support the transition into sleep. Your brain is also releasing different neurochemicals now, reducing the production of wake-promoting substances like norepinephrine and increasing the production of sleep-promoting substances like adenosine and GABA. These chemical changes work in concert with the electrical changes of your brain waves, creating a cascade of effects that makes sleep not just possible but inevitable, pulling you gently but irresistibly toward the deeper stages of rest. And still, even as all these changes occur, you might maintain a thread of awareness, a quiet witnessing presence that observes the process without interfering, that notices the journey without trying to control or direct it. In this theta state, ASMR triggers can be particularly effective, particularly powerful in their ability to deepen your relaxation and accelerate your journey toward sleep. The tingles, if you experience them, might feel more intense now, more widespread, cascading through your body in waves of pleasant sensation. Or the general sense of calm and safety might deepen, becoming more profound, more all-encompassing, as if you're wrapped in a soft blanket of peace, protected and cared for, completely safe to let go and drift away. The whispered quality of these words might seem to come from very far away now, or from very close, intimate and personal, as if someone is sitting right beside you, watching over you as you rest, ensuring your safety and comfort. This sense of being cared for, of being attended to with gentle focus and kind intention, is deeply soothing to your nervous system, allowing you to release the vigilance that you maintain throughout your day, the constant scanning for threats or problems, the readiness to respond to demands or challenges. Here, in this theta state, with these gentle ASMR triggers supporting your relaxation, you can finally let down your guard completely, can trust that you're safe, that you can rest, that sleep is not only permitted but encouraged, welcomed, celebrated as the gift it truly is. Let's rest here for a moment in theta, not trying to go deeper, not trying to do anything at all, simply allowing yourself to float in this peaceful state, this threshold between waking and sleeping. Notice how your thoughts, if you have any, are becoming more dreamlike, less logical, more associative and fluid. Notice how your body feels, heavy and relaxed, comfortable and at ease. Notice the quality of your awareness itself, how it's becoming softer, more diffuse, less focused and more expansive, like fog settling over a landscape, obscuring details but creating a sense of mystery and peace. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go. You can simply rest here, floating in theta, allowing the gentle current of your brain's natural rhythms to carry you wherever you need to go, trusting the process, surrendering to the wisdom of your body and brain. And as you rest here, your brain continues its work, continues to slow its oscillations, continues to prepare you for stage 1 sleep, that first official stage of sleep where theta waves dominate your consciousness and you cross the threshold from waking into sleeping, though the boundary is so subtle, so gradual, that you might not notice the exact moment of crossing. Stage 1 sleep is brief, usually lasting only 5 to 10 minutes, a transitional stage between wakefulness and deeper sleep. In stage 1, your theta waves become more pronounced, more dominant, and you lose awareness of your external environment, no longer processing sounds or sensations in the same way you did when you were awake. If someone were to wake you from stage 1 sleep, you might insist that you weren't sleeping at all, that you were just resting with your eyes closed, because the experience of stage 1 is so similar to deep relaxation, so close to waking consciousness that the distinction can be hard to perceive. But your brain knows the difference, recognizes that you've crossed the threshold, and it continues to guide you deeper, preparing you for stage 2 sleep, where the real work of sleep maintenance begins, where your brain creates special patterns of electrical activity designed to protect your sleep and keep you from waking too easily. But we're not quite there yet. We're still in this beautiful theta state, still floating in this peaceful drowsiness, still enjoying the gentle sensations and quiet awareness that characterize this stage of the journey. As you rest here in theta, you might notice that your sense of your body is changing, becoming less defined, less solid. You might not be entirely sure where your hands are, or whether your legs are crossed or straight, and this uncertainty is perfectly fine, perfectly normal for theta states. Your brain is reducing its attention to proprioception, the sense of your body's position in space, because this information is less relevant when you're lying still, preparing to sleep. This reduction in body awareness can create interesting sensations, sometimes feeling as if you're floating, or as if your body is expanding or contracting, or as if the boundaries between your body and the environment are becoming less clear. Some people experience a sensation of falling or jerking awake suddenly, a hypnic jerk as it's called, caused by your muscles relaxing so quickly that your brain briefly interprets the sensation as falling and triggers a protective response. If this happens, don't worry, don't interpret it as a failure or a setback. Simply notice it. Allow your body to settle again, and continue resting, knowing that these jerks are completely normal, experienced by most people as they transition into sleep, just another part of the fascinating process we're exploring together. The beauty of theta, the gift of this drowsy state, is that it requires nothing from you, demands nothing, asks only that you allow it, that you surrender to it, that you stop trying to control or direct your experience and simply let yourself be carried by the natural rhythms of your brain and body. This surrender can be challenging for people who are used to being in control, who spend their days making decisions and solving problems and directing their attention deliberately. But sleep requires a different approach, requires you to trust, to let go, to allow your unconscious processes to take over and guide you into the restoration you need. And the more you can practice this surrender, this letting go, the more easily you'll be able to fall asleep, not just tonight but every night, training your brain to recognize the signals that it's time to release waking consciousness and embrace the healing darkness of sleep. So practice now, practice letting go, practice surrendering to the gentle pull of theta, to the soft whisper of these words, to the peaceful heaviness of your relaxed body, to the quiet fading of your thoughts into the dreamlike imagery of your drowsy mind. Your brain waves are slowing, dropping from the higher end of theta down toward the lower frequencies, 4 Hz, 3 Hz, approaching the boundary with delta, those very slow waves that characterize the deepest stages of sleep. But before we reach delta, before we descend into that profound restoration, we'll pass through stage 2 sleep, a fascinating stage that occupies about half of your total sleep time each night, a stage characterized by continued theta waves but also by special patterns of brain activity that appear nowhere else in your sleep cycle. These special patterns are called sleep spindles and K-complexes, and they're some of the most interesting phenomena in all of sleep science, brief bursts of electrical activity that serve specific purposes in maintaining your sleep and processing your memories. But we'll explore those in detail soon. For now, simply rest here in theta, enjoying this peaceful drowsiness, this gentle fading of consciousness, this soft transition from waking to sleeping. Notice how easy it is to simply be here, how little effort is required, how your brain and body know exactly what to do, how the process unfolds naturally when you create the right conditions and then step back and allow it to happen. As we rest here together in this theta state, let's take another extended pause along the moment of simple presence, allowing the silence to deepen your relaxation, allowing the absence of words to create space for your consciousness to drift even further towards sleep. In this pause, you might notice sounds in your environment, the hum of a fan or the distant sound of traffic, or you might notice only the sound of your own breathing, slow and deep and regular. You might notice the feeling of your body, heavy and relaxed, or you might notice that your awareness of your body has faded almost completely. You might notice thoughts drifting through your mind like clouds across a vast sky, or you might notice that thoughts have become so infrequent, so quiet, that your mind feels almost empty, almost silent. Whatever you notice, or don't notice, is perfect, exactly right for this moment, exactly where you need to be on your journey towards sleep. So simply rest now, simply be, allowing the pause to hold you, allowing the silence to support you, allowing your brain to continue its work of slowing its electrical oscillations, preparing you for the deeper stages of sleep that await. And as we emerge gently from that pause, you might notice that you feel even more relaxed, even more drowsy, even closer to sleep than you were before. This is the cumulative effect of all the elements we've been exploring together, the ASMR triggers and the brainwave awareness, the gentle guidance and the extended pauses, all working together to create the optimal conditions for sleep. Your alpha waves have given way almost entirely to theta now, and you're resting in that beautiful drowsy state, that threshold consciousness where you're still somewhat aware but no longer fully awake, where sleep is not just approaching but has perhaps already begun, though you might not have noticed the exact moment of transition. And this is perfect, exactly as it should be, because sleep is not something that happens suddenly, not a switch that flips from on to off, but rather a gradual process, a gentle fading, a soft descent through layers of consciousness, each one deeper and more restful than the last. Your journey through theta has prepared you beautifully for what comes next, for the transition into stage 2 sleep, where your brain will create those special patterns we mentioned, those sleep spindles and K-complexes that protect your sleep and help consolidate your memories. But even as we prepare to explore stage 2, know that you don't have to follow every word, don't have to understand every concept. You can simply let the words wash over you like gentle waves, let the whispered explanations become a soothing background, a soft soundtrack to your descent into deeper sleep. Your conscious mind can rest, can release its need to understand and analyze, can simply drift away, while some deeper part of you, some unconscious awareness, continues to listen, continues to absorb, continues to be guided gently toward the restoration you need. So let go now. Let go of any remaining effort, any remaining attention, and simply allow yourself to sink deeper, to drift further, to float gently on the theta waves that are carrying you toward the profound peace of deep sleep. Stage 2 sleep, where we're heading now, is where your brain begins to create those distinctive patterns of electrical activity that appear nowhere else in your sleep cycle. Sleep spindles are brief bursts of brain activity, lasting only a second or two, where your neurons fire in rapid synchrony, creating a spike of electrical activity that looks like a spindle shape when recorded on an EEG machine. These spindles occur periodically throughout stage 2 sleep, appearing every few minutes, and they serve multiple purposes. First, they help protect your sleep by making you less responsive to external stimuli, essentially turning down the volume on sensory input so that sounds or movements in your environment are less likely to wake you. Second, they play a crucial role in memory consolidation, helping to transfer information from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, integrating the experiences and learning of your day into the vast network of knowledge and skills you've accumulated throughout your life. Research has shown that people who produce more sleep spindles tend to have better memory performance, and that sleep spindles increase after days of intensive learning, as if your brain is working overtime to process and store all the new information you've acquired. K-complexes are the other distinctive feature of stage 2 sleep, single large waves of electrical activity that appear suddenly, lasting about a second, looking like a sharp peak followed by a deep valley when recorded on an EEG. K-complexes can occur spontaneously, generated by your brain's internal processes, or they can be triggered by external stimuli, appearing in response to sounds or other sensory input. When a K-complex is triggered by an external stimulus, it serves as a kind of sentinel, your brain briefly checking whether the stimulus is important enough to warrant waking up, and if it's not, the K-complex helps you stay asleep, suppressing the arousal response and allowing you to continue resting. K-complexes also play a role in memory consolidation and in maintaining the slow oscillations that characterize deeper sleep stages, helping to coordinate the activity of different brain regions and ensuring that your sleep remains stable and restorative. Together, sleep spindles and K-complexes make stage 2 sleep a fascinating and complex stage, far more than just a transition between lighter and deeper sleep, but rather an active, dynamic state where your brain is doing important work, protecting your sleep, processing your memories, and preparing you for the profound restoration of stage 3. As you enter stage 2 sleep, your theta waves continue, but they're now punctuated by these spindles and K-complexes, creating a more complex pattern of electrical activity. Your body continues to relax, your heart rate continues to slow, your body temperature continues to drop, and you become less and less responsive to your environment, more and more deeply asleep. If someone were to wake you from stage 2 sleep, you would know that you had been sleeping, unlike stage 1, where you might have been uncertain. Stage 2 sleep occupies about 45 to 55% of your total sleep time, making it the most common stage, the one you spend the most time in throughout the night. This might seem surprising, given that stage 2 is not as deep as stage 3, not as dramatic as REM sleep, But stage 2 is incredibly important, providing a stable foundation for your sleep, a platform from which you can descend into deeper stages and from which you can ascend into lighter stages or into waking if necessary. Stage 2 is the workhorse of your sleep cycle, steady and reliable, doing the essential work of memory consolidation and sleep maintenance that allows you to wake feeling rested and restored. In stage 2, your experience of consciousness, if you have any awareness at all, becomes even more dreamlike, even more disconnected from external reality. You're no longer processing sensory information in any meaningful way, no longer aware of sounds or temperatures or the feeling of your body against the bed. Your sense of time has disappeared completely, and you have no idea whether you've been asleep for minutes or hours. Your thoughts, if they occur at all, are fragmentary and illogical, brief flashes of imagery or sensation that appear and disappear without any narrative coherence. This is not yet the vivid, story-like dreaming of REM sleep, but rather a more primitive form of mental activity, your brain processing information and consolidating memories in ways that don't create conscious experiences, or that create only the barest wisps of awareness, too fleeting and insubstantial to be remembered upon waking. And this is perfect, exactly as it should be, because stage 2 is not about conscious experience, not about awareness or understanding, but rather about the unconscious work your brain needs to do, the behind-the-scenes processing that happens when your conscious mind is offline, when your awareness has faded into the background and your brain can focus entirely on restoration and consolidation. The sleep spindles that characterize stage 2 have a particular rhythm, a particular frequency, oscillating at about 12 to 16 Hz, which is actually faster than the theta waves that form the background of stage 2 sleep. This creates an interesting pattern, slow theta waves with brief bursts of faster spindle activity superimposed on them, like ripples on the surface of a slow-moving river. These spindles are generated by interactions between your thalamus, a deep brain structure that acts as a relay station for sensory information, and your cortex, the outer layer of your brain where higher-level processing occurs. The thalamus sends rhythmic signals to the cortex, and the cortex responds, creating a feedback loop that generates the spindle pattern. This interaction between thalamus and cortex is crucial for the memory consolidation that occurs during stage 2 sleep, allowing information to be transferred from temporary storage in the hippocampus to more permanent storage in the cortical networks that hold your long-term memories. So even though you're not aware of it, even though you have no conscious experience of the process, your brain is actively working during stage 2 sleep, strengthening the neural connections that encode your memories, integrating new information with old, creating the rich tapestry of knowledge and experience that makes you who you are. K-complexes, those sharp peaks and valleys of electrical activity, are thought to play a role in protecting your sleep from disruption, but they may also serve other functions that scientists are still working to understand. Some research suggests that K-complexes help to suppress cortical arousal, keeping your brain in a sleep state even when external stimuli might otherwise wake you. Other research suggests that K-complexes play a role in memory consolidation, similar to sleep spindles, helping to coordinate the transfer of information between different brain regions. Still, other research suggests that K-complexes might be involved in regulating your sleep-wake cycle, helping to maintain the appropriate balance between sleep and waking over the course of the night. The truth is likely that K-complexes serve multiple functions, that they're a multi-purpose tool your brain uses to maintain and optimize your sleep, and that we're still in the early stages of understanding all the ways they contribute to your rest and restoration. But what's clear is that K-complexes are important, that they're a distinctive and essential feature of stage 2 sleep, and that their presence indicates that your brain is doing exactly what it needs to do, protecting your sleep and processing your experiences so that you can wake feeling refreshed and ready for a new day. As you rest in stage 2 sleep, your body continues to undergo changes that support deep restoration. Your immune system becomes more active, producing cytokines and other immune factors that help fight off infections and promote healing. Your muscles continue to relax, releasing any remaining tension, allowing your body to rest completely. Your digestive system slows down, conserving energy for other restorative processes. Your endocrine system adjusts hormone levels, reducing cortisol, the stress hormone, and increasing growth hormone, which promotes tissue repair and regeneration. All of these changes happen automatically, without any conscious effort or awareness on your part, orchestrated by your brain and body working together in perfect harmony, doing what they've evolved to do over millions of years, restoring and repairing and preparing you for the challenges and opportunities of the day ahead. And all you have to do is rest, is allow the process to unfold, is trust that your body knows what it needs and will take care of itself if you simply give it the time and space to do so. The transition from stage 2 to stage 3 sleep is marked by the appearance of delta waves, those very slow oscillations that characterize the deepest stage of sleep. Delta waves oscillate at a frequency of just half a hertz to 4 hertz, much slower than the theta waves of stage 2. Creating a pattern of electrical activity that looks like long, rolling hills when recorded on an EEG machine. As delta waves begin to appear, mixed in with the theta waves and sleep spindles and K-complexes of stage 2, you're entering what's called slow-wave sleep, or deep sleep, the most restorative stage of your sleep cycle. In stage 3, delta waves come to dominate your brain's electrical activity, occupying more and more of the ego recording until they represent at least 20% of your brain waves, the threshold that defines stage 3 sleep. And as you descend into stage 3, into this deep delta sleep, your consciousness fades almost completely, your awareness dissolves into the profound darkness of deep rest, and your brain and body engage in the most intensive restoration of the entire night. Stage 3 sleep, deep slow-wave sleep, is where the magic happens, where your body does its most important repair work, where your brain consolidates memories and clears out metabolic waste, where you experience the most profound rest and restoration of your entire sleep cycle. In stage 3, you're very difficult to wake, unresponsive to most external stimuli, deeply unconscious in a way that's qualitatively different from the lighter stages of sleep. If someone does manage to wake you from stage 3 sleep, you'll feel groggy and disoriented, confused about where you are and what's happening, because your brain needs time to transition back to waking consciousness, to restart all the systems that have been powered down during deep sleep. This grogginess, called sleep inertia, can last for several minutes or even longer, and it's a clear indication of just how deeply you were sleeping, how far your consciousness had descended into the restorative darkness of delta waves. Stage 3 sleep is most abundant in the first third of the night, with your first cycle of deep sleep being the longest and deepest, and subsequent cycles containing less and less stage 3 sleep as the night progresses and your need for deep restoration is gradually satisfied. Delta waves, those slow, rolling oscillations that define stage 3 sleep, are generated by large populations of neurons firing in synchrony, creating coordinated waves of electrical activity that sweep across your cortex like tides across an ocean. This synchronization is remarkable, millions of neurons acting together, creating a unified pattern of activity that's visible on an EEG recording as those characteristic slow waves. The synchronization of delta waves is thought to be important for memory consolidation, allowing different brain regions to communicate and coordinate, transferring information from temporary storage to permanent storage, integrating new experiences with existing knowledge. Delta waves are also associated with the release of growth hormone, which promotes tissue repair and regeneration, helping your body recover from the wear and tear of daily life. And delta waves are associated with the clearance of metabolic waste from your brain, a process that occurs primarily during deep sleep, when the spaces between your brain cells expand slightly, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow through and wash away the accumulated waste products of neural activity. This waste clearance process, sometimes called the glymphatic system, is one of the most important functions of deep sleep, and it may help explain why sleep is so essential for brain health and why chronic sleep deprivation is associated with increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. During your waking hours, your brain cells are constantly active, constantly consuming energy and producing waste products, including proteins like beta amyloid that can accumulate and form the plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. During deep sleep, when your brain is less active and your neurons are firing in those slow, synchronized delta wave patterns, the spaces between your brain cells expand by up to 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow through more easily and carry away these waste products, essentially giving your brain a deep cleaning that can only happen during sleep. This is why sleep is not optional, not a luxury but a necessity, because without adequate deep sleep, without sufficient time in stage 3 delta wave sleep, your brain cannot clear out these waste products, and they begin to accumulate, potentially contributing to cognitive decline and disease over time. In stage 3 sleep, your body also engages in intensive physical restoration, repairing tissues, building muscle, strengthening bones, and supporting immune function. Growth hormone, which is released primarily during deep sleep, stimulates protein synthesis and cell division, helping your body grow and repair itself. This is why children and adolescents, who are still growing, spend more time in deep sleep than adults, and why athletes and people recovering from injuries need more deep sleep to support their body's repair processes. Your immune system is also particularly active during deep sleep, producing cytokines and antibodies, strengthening your defenses against infections and diseases. Studies have shown that people who don't get enough deep sleep are more susceptible to infections, more likely to get sick when exposed to viruses, and slower to recover from illnesses. So deep sleep is not just about feeling rested, not just about mental restoration, but also about physical health, about giving your body the time and resources it needs to maintain itself, to repair damage, to stay strong and resilient in the face of the challenges and stresses of daily life. As you rest in stage 3 sleep, in this deep delta wave state, your experience of consciousness is minimal or absent entirely. You're not dreaming in the vivid, narrative way that characterizes REM sleep, though some research suggests that a form of thought-like mental activity may occur even in deep sleep, brief, fragmentary, non-visual thoughts that are rarely remembered upon waking. But for the most part, stage 3 sleep is characterized by an absence of conscious experience, a profound unconsciousness that's as close to non-existence as you can get while still being alive. This might sound frightening, this idea of consciousness dissolving completely, but in fact it's deeply restful, deeply peaceful, a release from the constant activity of your waking mind, a break from the endless stream of thoughts and sensations and emotions that occupy your awareness during your waking hours. In deep sleep, you get to simply not be, to rest so completely that even the sense of self fades away, and this complete rest is essential for your well-being, for your ability to function and thrive when you're awake. The delta waves of stage 3 sleep have a particular quality, a particular rhythm, that's deeply restorative not just for your brain but for your entire nervous system. These slow oscillations, cycling just once or twice per second, create a pattern of activity that's fundamentally different from the faster rhythms of waking consciousness, and this difference is important because it allows your brain to engage in processes that can't happen when you're awake, processes that require this specific slow wave pattern. One of these processes is synaptic homeostasis, the idea that during your waking hours, as you learn and experience new things, your synapses, the connections between neurons, become stronger and more numerous, and that during sleep, particularly during deep slow wave sleep, your brain prunes back these connections, weakening or eliminating the less important ones and strengthening the most important ones, essentially optimizing your neural networks for efficiency and effectiveness. This pruning process is thought to be essential for learning and memory, because without it, your brain would become saturated with connections, unable to form new memories or learn new skills because all the available synaptic space would be occupied by old, less relevant information. Another process that occurs during delta wave sleep is the consolidation of declarative memories, the facts and events and experiences that you can consciously recall and describe. During your waking hours, these memories are initially encoded in your hippocampus, a structure deep in your brain that's specialized for forming new memories. But the hippocampus has limited capacity, and memories can't stay there permanently. During deep sleep, particularly during the slow wave sleep of stage 3, these memories are gradually transferred from the hippocampus to the cortex, where they can be stored more permanently, integrated with your existing knowledge and experiences. This transfer process is thought to be facilitated by the slow oscillations of delta waves, which coordinate activity between the hippocampus and the cortex, allowing information to flow from one to the other. Research has shown that people who are deprived of deep sleep have impaired memory consolidation, struggling to remember information they learned before sleep, while people who get adequate deep sleep show improved memory performance, better able to recall and use the information they've learned. As you rest in this deep delta wave sleep, your brain is doing all of this important work, consolidating memories, clearing waste, optimizing neural networks, all while you remain blissfully unconscious, unaware of the complex processes unfolding in your sleeping brain. And this is one of the beautiful paradoxes of sleep, that the time when you're least aware, least conscious, is also the time when some of the most important processes for your health and well-being are occurring. Sleep is not a passive state, not a simple absence of waking, but rather an active, dynamic process, a different mode of brain function that's just as important as waking consciousness, just as essential for your survival and flourishing. And the more you can appreciate this, the more you can value sleep not as time wasted but as time invested in your health and well-being, the more easily you'll be able to prioritize sleep, to give yourself permission to rest, to create the conditions that allow for deep, restorative sleep night after night. The amount of deep sleep you get each night varies depending on many factors, including your age, your sleep debt, your stress levels, and your overall health. Young children spend a large proportion of their sleep time in stage 3, sometimes as much as 40%, because their brains and bodies are growing rapidly and need intensive restoration. As you age, the amount of deep sleep you get gradually decreases, with older adults sometimes getting very little stage 3 sleep at all, though they still spend plenty of time in stage 2 and REM sleep. This decrease in deep sleep with age may contribute to some of the cognitive changes associated with aging, and it's one reason why maintaining good sleep habits becomes even more important as you get older. If you've been sleep deprived, if you haven't been getting enough sleep in recent nights, your brain will prioritize deep sleep, spending more time in stage 3 to make up for the deficit, a phenomenon called sleep rebound. This is your brain's way of ensuring that you get the restoration you need, even if it means sacrificing some time in other sleep stages. Stress and anxiety can interfere with deep sleep, making it harder to reach stage 3 or reducing the amount of time you spend there. When you're stressed, your body produces cortisol and other stress hormones that promote wakefulness and alertness, making it difficult for your brain to generate the slow, synchronized delta waves that characterize deep sleep. This is why stress management and relaxation techniques, like the ASMR triggers and gentle guidance we've been exploring together, are so important for sleep quality. By reducing stress and promoting relaxation, by helping your brain transition from beta to alpha to theta, you're creating the conditions that allow for deep delta wave sleep, giving your brain and body the opportunity to engage in the intensive restoration that only happens in stage 3. And the more consistently you can create these conditions, the more regularly you can achieve deep sleep, the better you'll feel, the more resilient you'll be, the more capable of handling the challenges and stresses of your waking life. Let's rest here for a moment in this deep delta wave state, allowing the slow oscillations to wash through your consciousness, or through the absence of consciousness, allowing your brain and body to do their restorative work without any interference or effort on your part. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think about, nothing you need to understand or remember. You can simply be here, deeply asleep, profoundly at rest, allowing the delta waves to carry you into the most restorative state your brain and body can achieve. And as you rest here, know that every moment you spend in this deep sleep is a gift you're giving yourself, an investment in your health and well-being, a commitment to taking care of yourself in the most fundamental way possible. Sleep is not selfish, not a waste of time, but rather an essential act of self-care, a recognition that you are valuable, that your health matters, that you deserve rest and restoration and the opportunity to wake feeling refreshed and ready to engage fully with your life. After spending time in deep stage 3 sleep, your brain will gradually begin to transition back toward lighter sleep stages, moving from delta back into theta, from stage 3 back into stage 2, and eventually into a completely different kind of sleep, a stage that's so unique, so different from all the other stages, that it deserves its own category. This stage is called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep, named for the characteristic quick, darting movements of your eyes that occur during this stage, even though your eyelids are closed. REM sleep is paradoxical, a state where your brain is highly active, almost as active as when you're awake, but your body is deeply relaxed, even paralyzed, unable to move except for your eyes and your breathing muscles. This combination of an active brain and a paralyzed body creates the perfect conditions for vivid, immersive dreaming, the kind of dreams that have narratives and characters and emotions, the dreams you're most likely to remember when you wake up. REM sleep first occurs about 70 to 90 minutes after you fall asleep, after you've progressed through stages 1, 2, and 3, and this first REM period is usually brief, lasting only 5 to 10 minutes. But as the night progresses, as you cycle through multiple sleep cycles, your REM periods become longer and longer, with your final REM period of the night potentially lasting up to an hour. By the end of a full night's sleep, you've typically spent about 20 to 25% of your total sleep time in REM, though this percentage varies with age, with infants spending as much as 50% of their sleep time in REM, and older adults spending somewhat less. REM sleep is essential for many aspects of your mental and emotional health, playing crucial roles in memory consolidation, particularly for procedural memories and emotional memories, in emotional regulation, helping you process and integrate emotional experiences, and in creativity and problem solving, allowing your brain to make novel connections and generate new insights. The brain activity during REM sleep is fascinating and complex, with different regions showing different patterns of activation. Your visual cortex is highly active, generating the vivid imagery of dreams, even though your eyes are closed and you're not receiving any visual input from the external world. Your limbic system, the emotional centers of your brain, is also highly active, which explains why dreams often have strong emotional content, why you might feel fear or joy or sadness or excitement in your dreams, sometimes more intensely than you feel these emotions in waking life. Your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logical thinking and executive control, is less active during REM sleep, which explains why dreams often have illogical or impossible elements, why the narrative of a dream can shift suddenly without any explanation, why you might accept bizarre situations in dreams that you would immediately recognize as impossible if you were awake. This pattern of activation, with sensory and emotional regions highly active and logical regions less active, creates the unique quality of dream consciousness, a state that's vivid and immersive but also fluid and illogical, bound by different rules than waking consciousness. The paralysis that occurs during REM sleep, called rematonia, is caused by your brainstem actively inhibiting your motor neurons, preventing signals from your brain from reaching your muscles. This paralysis is protective, preventing you from acting out your dreams, from moving your body in response to the vivid experiences you're having in your sleeping mind. Without rematonia, you might thrash around, potentially injuring yourself or your bed partner as you physically respond to dream events. There's actually a sleep disorder called REM sleep behavior disorder where this paralysis doesn't occur properly, and people do act out their dreams, sometimes violently, which can be dangerous and distressing. But for most people, rematonia works perfectly, keeping your body still and safe while your mind roams freely through the landscape of dreams. The only muscles that aren't paralyzed during REM sleep are your diaphragm and other breathing muscles, which continue to function automatically, and your eye muscles, which create those rapid eye movements that give REM sleep its name. Scientists aren't entirely sure why your eyes move during REM sleep, but one theory is that the eye movements correspond to the visual imagery of your dreams, as if you're looking around in the dream environment, though this theory is still debated. Dreaming during REM sleep serves multiple functions, though scientists are still working to fully understand all the roles that dreams play in your mental and emotional health. One important function is emotional regulation, the processing and integration of emotional experiences. During REM sleep, your brain reactivates emotional memories, replaying them in the context of dreams, but with reduced levels of norepinephrine, a stress hormone that's normally present when you experience strong emotions while awake. This allows you to process emotional experiences without the full intensity of the original emotion, essentially desensitizing yourself to the emotional content, making it easier to cope with difficult experiences and move forward. Research has shown that people who are deprived of REM sleep have more difficulty regulating their emotions, showing increased emotional reactivity and reduced ability to cope with stress. REM sleep and dreaming also play a role in consolidating procedural memories, the skills and habits that you perform automatically without conscious thought, like riding a bike or playing a musical instrument. Studies have shown that people who practice a new skill and then get a full night's sleep, including REM sleep, show better performance the next day than people who practice the same amount but don't sleep, suggesting that REM sleep helps to solidify and optimize the neural pathways involved in skill learning. Creativity and problem solving are also enhanced by REM sleep and dreaming, because the unique pattern of brain activity during REM allows for novel associations and connections that might not occur during waking consciousness. The reduced activity in your prefrontal cortex means that your brain is less constrained by logic and convention, more free to explore unusual combinations and possibilities. Many famous examples exist of creative insights and scientific discoveries that occurred in dreams or immediately upon waking from REM sleep, from Paul McCartney's melody for Yesterday to August Kekula Copyright's discovery of the structure of benzene, supposedly inspired by a dream of a snake biting its own tail. While not every dream will lead to a creative breakthrough, the general principle holds that REM sleep and dreaming allow your brain to process information in ways that are different from waking thought, potentially leading to insights and solutions that wouldn't be accessible through conscious, logical analysis alone. This is why the advice to sleep on it when facing a difficult problem is actually scientifically sound, because a night of sleep, particularly REM sleep, can help your brain find new perspectives and solutions. The content of dreams is endlessly fascinating, varying from mundane replays of daily events to bizarre, surreal scenarios that seem to have no connection to your waking life. Dreams often incorporate elements from your recent experiences, a phenomenon called day residue, where events or concerns from the previous day or two appear in your dreams, sometimes directly and sometimes in disguised or symbolic form. Dreams also draw on your long-term memories, your hopes and fears, your unresolved conflicts and deepest desires, weaving all of these elements together into narratives that can be meaningful or nonsensical, emotionally powerful or emotionally neutral. Some theories of dreaming suggest that dreams are your brain's way of making sense of random neural activity, creating stories to explain the patterns of activation that occur during REM sleep. Other theories suggest that dreams have deeper psychological significance, that they reveal unconscious thoughts and feelings, that they serve as a kind of internal therapy, helping you work through emotional issues and integrate different aspects of your psyche. The truth is likely that dreams serve multiple functions and have multiple levels of meaning, that they're both random and meaningful, both nonsensical and profound, depending on the specific dream and the specific dreamer. As you rest in REM sleep, experiencing vivid dreams or simply floating in the unique consciousness of this paradoxical state, your body continues to benefit from the rest, even though your brain is active. Your muscles are completely relaxed, released from all tension, and this deep muscular relaxation is restorative in itself, allowing your body to recover from the physical demands of your waking hours. Your heart rate and breathing become more variable during REM sleep, sometimes speeding up and sometimes slowing down, reflecting the emotional content of your dreams and the changing patterns of brain activity. Your body temperature regulation becomes less effective during REM sleep, making you more sensitive to the temperature of your environment, which is why it's important to keep your bedroom at a comfortable temperature for sleep. And your brain, despite being highly active, is still engaging in important restorative processes, still consolidating memories and processing emotions, still doing the essential work that can only happen during sleep. The cycling between non-REM sleep, stages 1 through 3, and REM sleep continues throughout the night, with each complete cycle lasting about 90 minutes on average, though this can vary from 70 to 120 minutes depending on the individual and the specific cycle. In a typical night of 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you'll go through 4 to 6 complete sleep cycles, each one containing some time in stage 2, possibly some time in stage 3, especially in the earlier cycles, and some time in REM, with REM periods getting longer as the night progresses. This cycling is orchestrated by complex interactions between different brain regions and different neurochemical systems, with some systems promoting wakefulness, some promoting non-REM sleep, and some promoting REM sleep, all working together in a carefully balanced dance that ensures you get the right amounts of each sleep stage. Understanding this cycling can help you appreciate why it's important to get a full night's sleep, not just a few hours, because if you cut your sleep short, you'll miss out on the longer REM periods that occur in the later part of the night, and you'll wake up having gotten less of the emotional processing and creative problem-solving benefits that REM sleep provides. The architecture of sleep, this pattern of cycling through different stages, is remarkably consistent across individuals and across nights, though it can be disrupted by various factors including stress, alcohol, medications, and sleep disorders. Alcohol, for example, might help you fall asleep initially, but it suppresses REM sleep, particularly in the first half of the night, meaning you get less of the emotional and cognitive benefits that REM provides. Many medications, including some antidepressants and sleep aids, also affect sleep architecture, sometimes suppressing REM or reducing deep slow-wave sleep. And sleep disorders like sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome can fragment your sleep, causing frequent brief awakenings that prevent you from progressing through the normal sleep stages, leaving you feeling unrefreshed even if you spent enough time in bed. This is why sleep quality is just as important as sleep quantity, why it's not enough to simply spend 8 hours in bed if those 8 hours are filled with disrupted, fragmented sleep that doesn't allow for proper cycling through all the sleep stages. As we explore this complete picture of sleep architecture, this understanding of how your brain moves through different states of consciousness throughout the night, you might be developing a deeper appreciation for the complexity and importance of sleep, for the remarkable processes that unfold while you're unconscious, for the essential restoration that occurs when you give yourself permission to rest fully and completely. Sleep is not a simple on-off switch, not a single uniform state, but rather a rich, complex journey through different landscapes of consciousness, each one serving specific functions, each one contributing to your overall health and well-being in unique ways. And the more you understand this journey, the more you can appreciate why sleep matters, why it's worth prioritizing, why it's worth creating the conditions that allow for deep, restorative sleep night after night. This understanding itself can be relaxing, can help you let go of any anxiety or frustration about sleep, can help you trust that your brain knows what it's doing, that it will guide you through the stages you need if you simply create the right conditions and then step back and allow the process to unfold naturally. Let's take another extended pause here, another moment of simple rest, allowing all of this information about sleep stages and brain waves and dreaming to settle into your awareness, or to drift away entirely if you're already deeply asleep, no longer consciously following these words but simply resting in the peaceful darkness of deep sleep or the vivid landscape of dreams. In this pause, there's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to understand. You can simply be here, resting, sleeping, allowing your brain and body to do whatever they need to do, trusting the process, surrendering to the natural rhythms of your sleep cycle. And as you rest here, know that every moment of sleep is valuable, every stage serves a purpose, every cycle brings you closer to the restoration and renewal you need to wake feeling refreshed and ready to engage fully with your life. The integration of all these sleep stages, the way they work together to provide complete restoration, is one of the most beautiful aspects of sleep science. Stage 2 sleep, with its sleep spindles and K-complexes, protects your sleep and consolidates memories. Stage 3 sleep, with its slow delta waves, provides deep physical and mental restoration, clears metabolic waste from your brain, and optimizes your neural networks. REM sleep, with its paradoxical combination of an active brain and a paralyzed body, processes emotions, consolidates procedural memories, and enhances creativity and problem solving. And the cycling between these stages, the rhythm of descent into deep sleep followed by ascent into REM, repeated multiple times throughout the night, ensures that you get the right balance of all these different types of restoration, that no essential function is neglected, that you wake feeling truly rested and renewed. This is why it's so important to get a full night's sleep, to give yourself enough time in bed to complete multiple sleep cycles, to allow your brain to orchestrate this complex dance of different sleep stages, each one building on the others, each one contributing to your overall well-being. The relationship between ASMR and sleep becomes even clearer when we understand this complete picture of sleep architecture. ASMR triggers those gentle sounds and soft sensations we explored earlier, help you transition from beta to alpha, from waking alertness to relaxed awareness. And this is the crucial first step in the journey towards sleep. By reducing stress and promoting relaxation, ASMR helps your brain begin to produce the slower brain waves that characterize sleep, making it easier to fall asleep and to progress through the early sleep stages. The sense of safety and calm that ASMR creates can help protect your sleep throughout the night, reducing the likelihood of stress-related awakenings, supporting the natural cycling through sleep stages. And the positive associations you build with ASMR, the conditioning that occurs when you regularly use ASMR content as part of your bedtime routine, can make it easier to fall asleep over time, as your brain learns to associate these triggers with sleep and begins the transition towards sleep more quickly and easily whenever you encounter them. The science of ASMR is still relatively new, with the first peer-reviewed research papers on the topic published only in the last decade, but the findings so far are promising and fascinating. Studies using functional MRI have shown that ASMR triggers activate brain regions associated with reward and emotional arousal, including the nucleus accumbens and the medial prefrontal cortex, suggesting that ASMR creates feelings of pleasure and positive emotion. Other studies have shown that ASMR reduces heart rate and increases skin conductance, physiological markers of relaxation and parasympathetic nervous system activation. Research published in 2024 found that people who experience ASMR show increased connectivity between sensory and emotional brain regions, suggesting that ASMR might involve a unique form of sensory-emotional integration, a blending of physical sensations with emotional responses that creates the characteristic tingling and feelings of well-being. And studies examining the effects of ASMR on sleep have found that people who listen to ASMR content before bed report falling asleep more quickly, sleeping more soundly, and waking feeling more refreshed, though more research is needed to fully understand the mechanisms behind these benefits. One particularly interesting finding from recent ASMR research is that the experience of ASMR tingles is associated with increased alpha and theta brainwave activity, exactly the frequencies that characterize relaxation and the early stages of sleep. This suggests that ASMR might work by directly influencing brain wave patterns, helping to shift your brain from the higher frequency beta waves of waking alertness to the slower frequencies that support sleep. This brain wave entrainment effect might explain why ASMR is so effective for sleep, why it can help you fall asleep more quickly and easily than simply lying in bed trying to relax. By providing your brain with specific sensory triggers that promote alpha and theta wave production, ASMR essentially gives your brain a gentle push in the direction it needs to go, accelerating the natural transition from waking to sleeping. The individual differences in ASMR experience are also fascinating and worthy of exploration. Not everyone experiences the physical tingles of ASMR, with estimates suggesting that somewhere between 20 and 50% of people have strong ASMR responses, while others experience little or no tingling sensation. But even people who don't experience tingles often report finding ASMR content relaxing and soothing, suggesting that the benefits of ASMR extend beyond the physical sensations to include more general effects on mood and stress levels. Research has found that people who experience ASMR tend to score higher on measures of openness to experience and lower on measures of neuroticism, suggesting that personality factors might influence ASMR sensitivity. Other research has found that ASMR sensitivity might be related to synesthesia, the blending of sensory experiences, with people who experience ASMR being more likely also to experience other forms of sensory blending. These individual differences remind us that sleep and relaxation are deeply personal experiences, and that what works for one person might not work for another. It is essential to explore and discover what triggers and techniques work best for your unique brain and body. As we near the end of our journey together through the landscape of sleep and consciousness, through the fascinating world of brain waves and ASMR sensations, it's worth taking time to reflect on the broader implications of everything we've explored, to consider how this understanding can enrich your relationship with sleep, can transform the way you approach rest and restoration, can help you appreciate the remarkable gift that sleep represents in your life. Sleep is not just a biological necessity, not just something your body requires to function, but rather a profound opportunity for renewal, a chance to release the accumulated stress and tension of your waking hours, to process and integrate your experiences, to heal and restore your body and mind, to wake each morning feeling refreshed and ready to engage fully with the possibilities of a new day. And the more you can appreciate this, the more you can value sleep as the precious resource it truly is, the more easily you'll be able to prioritize it, to protect it, to create the conditions that allow for deep, restorative sleep night after night. The science of sleep has revealed so much about why we sleep, about what happens during sleep, about the essential functions that sleep serves for our physical and mental health. We now know that sleep is not a passive state, not simply the absence of waking, but rather an active, dynamic process where your brain and body engage in crucial restoration and maintenance activities that can only occur during sleep. We know that different sleep stages serve different functions, that stage 2 sleep protects your sleep and consolidates memories, that stage 3 deep sleep provides intensive physical and mental restoration, that REM sleep processes emotions and enhances creativity. We know that sleep deprivation has serious consequences, impairing cognitive function, weakening immune response, increasing risk of chronic diseases, affecting mood and emotional regulation. And we know that good sleep, consistent, adequate, high-quality sleep, is one of the most important things you can do for your health and well-being, more important than many of the things we typically prioritize in our busy modern lives. Yet despite all this knowledge, despite the clear scientific evidence for the importance of sleep, many people still struggle to prioritize it, still sacrifice sleep in favor of work or entertainment or social obligations, still view sleep as something that can be postponed or minimized without serious consequences. This disconnect between knowing that sleep is important and actually prioritizing it in our lives is one of the great challenges of modern sleep science, and it's a challenge that requires not just more information but a fundamental shift in how we think about sleep, how we value it, how we integrate it into our daily lives. Part of this shift involves understanding sleep not as time wasted but as time invested, not as a luxury but as a necessity, not as something we do when we have nothing better to do, but as one of the most important things we can do for ourselves, as essential as eating nutritious food or exercising regularly or maintaining meaningful relationships. Another part of this shift involves developing a healthier relationship with sleep, releasing the anxiety and frustration that many people feel around sleep. The worry about whether they're getting enough, the stress about falling asleep quickly, the fear of insomnia or sleep problems. Ironically, this anxiety about sleep often makes sleep more difficult, creating a vicious cycle where worry about sleep prevents sleep, which creates more worry, which prevents more sleep. Breaking this cycle requires a different approach, one based on trust rather than control, on allowing rather than forcing, on creating conditions that support sleep, and then stepping back and letting your brain and body do what they know how to do. This is where practices like ASMR can be so valuable, not because they force you to sleep, but because they create an environment of safety and calm, because they give your nervous system permission to relax, because they help you transition from the high alert state of beta waves to the slower, more restful frequencies of alpha and theta. The practice of gratitude, of appreciating the gift of sleep, can itself be sleep-promoting, because gratitude is associated with positive emotions and reduced stress, both of which support relaxation and sleep. As you lie in bed preparing to sleep, you might take a moment to reflect on the things you're grateful for, the people you love, the experiences you've enjoyed, the simple pleasures of your day. This practice shifts your focus away from worries and problems, away from the things that might keep you awake, and toward positive, soothing thoughts that support relaxation. You might also cultivate gratitude for sleep itself, for the opportunity to rest and restore, for the remarkable processes that will unfold in your sleeping brain, for the gift of waking refreshed and renewed. This appreciation for sleep, this recognition of its value and importance, can help you prioritize it, can help you make choices throughout your day that support healthy sleep, can help you approach bedtime with a sense of welcoming rather than dread or anxiety. As you rest here now, having journeyed with me through this exploration of consciousness and sleep science, through the fascinating world of brain waves and ASMR sensations, you might notice that you feel different than you did when we began. Perhaps you feel more relaxed, more drowsy, more ready for sleep. Perhaps your thoughts have become slower and more dreamlike, your body heavier and more settled. Perhaps you've already drifted into sleep, no longer consciously following these words but simply resting in the peaceful darkness of deep sleep or the vivid landscape of dreams. Wherever you are in your journey, whatever stage of sleep you've reached or are approaching, know that it's exactly right, exactly where you need to be. There's no right or wrong way to experience this, no goal you need to achieve, no standard you need to meet. You're simply here, resting, allowing your brain and body to do what they need to do, trusting the process, surrendering to the natural rhythms of sleep. The whispered quality of these words, the gentle rhythm of this narration, has been designed to support your journey into sleep, to provide a soothing soundtrack to your descent through the stages of consciousness, to offer just enough engagement to occupy your thinking mind while allowing your deeper awareness to relax and drift away. The ASMR triggers we've explored, the soft sounds and gentle sensations, have been woven throughout this experience to promote relaxation and create those pleasant tingles or that deep sense of calm that makes sleep more accessible. The scientific information we've covered, the explanations of brain waves and sleep stages, has been presented in a way that's meant to be interesting but not stimulating, engaging but not alerting, giving your mind something to focus on that's peaceful and soothing rather than exciting or worrying. And the extended pauses we've taken, those moments of simple silence and presence, have given you opportunities to simply be, to rest without any input or guidance, to notice your own experience and allow it to unfold naturally. As we approach the end of our time together, as this journey through sleep science and ASMR sensations draws to a close, I want to invite you to simply let go completely now, to release any remaining attention or effort, to allow yourself to drift fully into sleep, if you haven't already. There's nothing more you need to hear, nothing more you need to understand, nothing more you need to do. You've created the conditions for sleep. You've given yourself permission to rest. You've learned about the remarkable processes that will unfold in your sleeping brain, and now you can simply surrender, simply allow, simply be. Your brain knows what to do, knows how to guide you through the stages of sleep, knows how to orchestrate the complex dance of neurochemicals and electrical patterns that will restore and renew you. Your body knows what to do, knows how to relax completely, knows how to engage in the repair and restoration that can only happen during sleep. And you, Your conscious awareness can simply fade away, can dissolve into the peaceful darkness, can rest completely and utterly, trusting that you'll wake when it's time, feeling refreshed and restored, ready to engage fully with a new day. Let's take one final extended pause together, a long moment of complete rest, allowing the silence to deepen into sleep, allowing your consciousness to fade into dreams or into the profound unconsciousness of deep sleep. In this pause, there's nothing at all, no words, no guidance, no input of any kind, just the peaceful darkness, just the gentle rhythm of your breathing, just the slow waves of delta or the paradoxical activity of REM, just sleep, pure and simple and restorative. Rest now, deeply and completely, allowing every muscle to release, every thought to fade, every concern to dissolve. Rest in the knowledge that you're safe, that you're cared for, that you can let go completely. Rest in the understanding that sleep is a gift, a precious opportunity for renewal, a chance to wake feeling refreshed and ready for whatever comes next. Rest in the trust that your brain and body know what they're doing, that they'll take care of you while you sleep, that they'll guide you through the stages you need and wake you when it's time. Simply rest now, simply sleep, simply be. And as you rest in this deep sleep, or as you drift in and out of awareness, floating between sleep stages, your brain continues its remarkable work, continues to cycle through the stages we've explored together, continues to consolidate memories and process emotions, continues to clear metabolic waste and optimize neural networks, continues to restore and repair and prepare you for waking. Each cycle of sleep, each progression from stage 2 through stage 3 and into REM, brings you closer to complete restoration, closer to the renewal you need, closer to waking feeling truly rested. And even if you wake briefly during the night, even if you have a moment of awareness between sleep cycles, you can simply notice it without concern, can simply allow yourself to drift back into sleep, knowing that these brief awakenings are completely normal, part of the natural architecture of sleep, nothing to worry about or struggle against. You can simply notice, simply breathe, simply allow yourself to sink back into sleep, back into the peaceful darkness, back into the restorative rhythms of your sleeping brain. The integration of everything we've explored, the understanding of how ASMR and brain waves and sleep stages all work together to create the experience of falling asleep and staying asleep, can serve you not just tonight but every night, not just for this one sleep session, but for all the sleep sessions to come. You can return to this understanding whenever you need it, can remember the gentle progression from beta to alpha to theta to delta, can recall the soothing quality of ASMR triggers, can trust in the natural wisdom of your brain and body. You can use this knowledge to create better sleep habits, to optimize your sleep environment, to develop a healthier relationship with sleep. And you can share this understanding with others, can help that the people you care about appreciate the importance of sleep, can support them in prioritizing rest and restoration in their own lives. Sleep is not just a personal matter, not just something that affects you alone, but rather a fundamental aspect of human health and well-being that deserves to be valued and protected at both individual and societal levels. As you continue to rest here, deeply asleep or drifting peacefully, I want to express gratitude for your willingness to take this journey with me, for your openness to exploring the science of sleep and the phenomenon of ASMR, for your commitment to prioritizing your rest and restoration. If you found value in this experience, if you've discovered something useful or interesting or soothing, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can continue to explore these topics with me, so you can access more content designed to support your sleep and relaxation, so you can be part of a community of people who value rest and understand its importance. But this invitation is gentle, without pressure or urgency, simply an offering, a possibility, something you can consider when you wake, if you choose to. For now, the only thing that matters is your rest, your sleep, your restoration. Let yourself sink even deeper now, if that's possible, letting go of any last threads of awareness, any remaining connection to waking consciousness. Let the delta waves wash through your brain like slow tides, like the gentle rhythm of waves on a distant shore, carrying away tension and stress, bringing in peace and restoration. Let your body rest completely, every muscle relaxed, every system engaged in its restorative work, every cell renewing itself. Let your mind be quiet, empty, at peace, whether that's the profound unconsciousness of deep sleep or the vivid imagery of dreams, whether you're aware or unaware, conscious or unconscious. Simply let yourself be exactly as you are, exactly where you are, trusting that it's perfect, trusting that you're getting exactly what you need, trusting that you'll wake feeling refreshed and renewed, ready to engage fully with the gift of a new day. The soft whisper of these final words is fading now, becoming quieter and quieter, more and more distant, like a voice calling from very far away, like a memory of sound rather than sound itself. And as these words fade, as the guidance ends, as the narration dissolves into silence, you're left with only your own experience, only your own breath and heartbeat, only your own consciousness or unconsciousness, only your own sleep. And this is exactly right, exactly as it should be, because sleep is ultimately a solitary journey, something you do alone, something that happens in the privacy of your own mind and body, something that no one else can do for you or experience with you. But even in this solitude, you're not alone, because you're connected to all the other humans who are sleeping right now, all across the world, all engaged in this same essential process, all resting and restoring, all trusting in the wisdom of their sleeping brains, all preparing to wake and engage with life once again. Sleep well, dear listener. Sleep deeply and peacefully. Sleep with the knowledge that you're doing something important, something essential, something that will serve you in countless ways when you wake. Sleep with gratitude for this opportunity to rest, for this time set aside for restoration, for this gift of consciousness fading into unconsciousness and then returning again, renewed. Sleep with trust in your brain and body, in their ancient wisdom, in their ability to guide you through the stages you need and bring you back to waking when it's time. Sleep with the pleasant tingles of ASMR cascading through your awareness, or with the simple peace of deep relaxation, or with the profound unconsciousness of delta waves, or with the vivid dreams of REM sleep. However you sleep, wherever your consciousness goes, know that it's perfect. Know that you're exactly where you need to be. Know that you're safe and cared for and supported in your rest. And now, as these words finally come to an end, as this journey through consciousness and sleep science reaches its conclusion, there's nothing left but silence, nothing left but sleep. Nothing left but the gentle rhythm of your breathing and the slow waves of your sleeping brain. Rest now, completely and utterly. Let go of everything, every thought, every sensation, every last bit of awareness. Simply sleep, deeply and peacefully, restoratively and completely, allowing the night to hold you, allowing your brain to guide you, allowing your body to restore itself, allowing yourself to simply be, simply rest, simply sleep. Good night, dear listener. May your sleep be deep and your dreams be peaceful. May you wake feeling refreshed and renewed. May you carry this understanding of sleep with you, valuing it and prioritizing it, giving yourself this gift of rest night after night. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. Simply sleep.